You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey, hello, and welcome back to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. We are happy you're joining us tonight. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Hey, you guys like books? I'm Cliff Barnes.
Seth.
What is up, everybody? We hope you enjoyed the Pooh-Bah Awards. We hope you finished the whole thing. It was
You had plenty of time.
4-ish hours.
Somebody listened to it.
What a fun episode to do, to recap all the movies we watched. What a labor of love that is. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
New theme song.
New theme.
That's the highlight, really, of the original music category.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've gotten to the point with that episode where all year round, I'm like trying to keep up with it and make my notes, and like it feels like a 12-month homework assignment. And then we do the episode and I get it all out there and it's like, oh, relief. I don't have to watch any more movies for a while. And then immediately like roll
you guys realize we are like less than a month and a half away from the summer movie challenge. I mean,
full-time job here.
It's gonna be here before you know it. So get fucking ready.
It felt like a weight off my chest of like, we finished that, and I was like, I could watch anything this weekend. Like, I'm going through all the streaming.
I could do whatever.
I can watch some old movie I just want to watch. I don't have to like be scouring for 2024.
Yep. Yep.
I can start on my 2025 movies.
Oh man, I'm deep. Nick and I went and saw the new Porky Pig Daffy Duck movie tonight.
Wow.
I wasn't gonna go, but I said, hey, we go almost every week to see something because we have that pass, and Nick's just all about getting his money's worth. I was like, we don't have anything this week, by the way. He's like, nothing came out. I was like, well, stuff came out, but nothing I care about. I was like, maybe the Looney Tunes thing. He's like, well, let's go see that. So
that's most of the reason I don't have that pass is because I would feel obligated. Like, I'm paying for it. I gotta go watch them.
There's enough good stuff that it pays for itself by far. So it's not. We will, and just for the record, that was a pleasant time. It's nice to see Looney Tunes on the big screen. Although I was never a Porky Pig guy, you know. I'm a Bugs guy. Give me Bugs, you know.
I know people have been upset lately because they pulled them, all the old Looney Tunes, or at least most of the Looney Tunes from the Max app.
Controversy.
So. Yeah.
But anyway, it's pretty good. It was a little. It ran a little long, even. I mean, it was an hour and a half, but that's a long Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
But there was some funny stuff in it. There was. I think what made it work was they were friends in it. It wasn't like this constant against each other like a normal cartoon. They were working together for the most part. And there were some pretty funny jokes in it. So, yeah, we had a good time. Didn't cost me anything, so it's good.
Well, Cliff and I had a good time, and it cost me quite a lot to go. We went to the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention 2025 on Sunday, March 9th, so not too long ago. I had my tickets for a while. There were a couple big enough names announced that I knew I was going to go. Cliff was a little more last-minute decision on your part to...
Yeah, it was. I think the week before I was just finally like, I'll ride along. And I was like, I'll buy a ticket, no big deal. And then I didn't realize how much the tickets were. They're a little pricier than some other places, but it was fine. Yeah, it ended up being a really good show. I was glad I went afterwards, because I really didn't have any, big plans, somebody I had to see, somebody, I couldn't miss or whatever, but ended up being pretty cool. I was surprised how I thought, man, it's going to take forever to get there. It was the time change. I was worried about that. I don't do well with the spring forward time change anyways. I lose that hour of sleep. So I was like, man, I'm going to take the initiative for once and try and ignore that and get up super early and go. But no, it was a pretty easy ride. I thought we were there pretty quickly, considering how far we went. So
it was about a 4-hour drive. So we left at 5:30 a.m., which was already sprung forward. So it felt to us like 4:30 in the morning. We were trucking,
which meant I got up at 3:30 a.m.
So got there by about 9:30, so no rush to the door or anything. Opened at 10. So we get in there. The lady scans my QR code. She's like, 2 badges. Nope. 1 badge. Like, the other badge is for the John Romita meet and greet. Oh. Do you happen to know what time that will be? You have to talk to this one. So I ordered the special package to meet John Romita Jr. to make sure I got my autographs and a piece of original art. And I sent the email in confirming this and said, hey, is there a specific time for this, or you just show up at his booth? No response at all. So I just assumed you show up at his booth whenever, they'll give you the package. Until Saturday, I'm following along on Facebook and social media, and I see them post at 2:37 p.m. on Facebook. The JR meet and greet's at 3 p.m. So with literally minutes to spare, they announced when the Saturday was. So, okay, there must be a specific time I need to be there. Nobody knew. This became a most of the day ordeal. So they sent me to some other woman. I went to the information booth where no one was there.
Nobody. Not a soul.
Not a soul. So I think that's where they kept their coats. Everybody kept their coats at the information booth.
The no information booth.
Yeah, so I flagged down a volunteer. He couldn't answer. All right. To be continued. So we get in line. We get our badges and get in line. And within 30 seconds, this woman comes up and yells at us.
Yeah.
Did you just come out of the bathroom? This line was capped. And we're like, how were we to know this? How was this information? There was no one there to tell us.
There was no information.
There was no sign. Okay, well, we are the last one. Nobody else. So it was our job, all of a sudden, to cap the line. So this was the whole day. Getting yelled at by people for going in and outdoor, turning left when you're supposed to turn right. This was like, it was a little stressful of like getting reprimanded by these volunteers. I don't know if they're con people or venue people, but some of them were awfully rude.
There was an unusual amount of yelling throughout the day.
And I generally try to have a good attitude, and I'm not there to, I don't demand special treatment or anything, but like some of these people, like, I hope you had a miserable weekend. I hope all day you were like, don't go out that door. Like that was. I hope you had nightmares when you got home of people going in the outdoor.
Yeah.
Yes. You didn't handle it very well.
And I noticed it wasn't just us. Like they were yelling at a lot of people. So.
Kentucky was a friendly town. Oof. All right, so we got in basically right at 10. Not everybody's there. Sunday morning, time change. The booths aren't manned. But the first person I see at this table is Christopher Priest, who was not on the website. They had put him on the website, never announced the cancellation, and he just disappeared from the website. So I had no idea if he'd be there or not. Super happy that he was. I'd always wanted to meet him, and I brought the stuff I wanted to get signed with me. So I'm like, good.
And he was awesome.
Yeah. He was like, people have been telling me that all weekend. That everybody's like, I didn't know you were here. I didn't bring anything for you. He's like, yeah, that's weird. People have been saying that. It's like, yeah, because you're not on the website. But he was super, super nice. Just real friendly. I didn't know anything about him. I mean, I know his work, but I don't
Oh,
know his.
what did I read? Is that who I'm thinking of, or was that in one of the cons we went to? Wasn't Shooter or somebody talking about him?
Yeah, he was an editor. His name was Jim Owsley in the 80s. He was an editor for Marvel. And then at some point he changed his name to Christopher Priest.
Yeah, it's something like they just made it like he was a young phenom or whatever. It's like how
he
he
was the one
went.
talking about going down the hallway in roller skates or something, maybe. Was that
Yeah,
the
I
one he was
can't
talking
remember.
about?
I felt like I heard a whole story about him at some point at one of these cons.
Yeah, I always had this assumption he was a very serious guy, a very kind of, no nonsense kind of guy, but that didn't seem like what he was. He seemed super cool. And then Cliff says something about me because I got a poster sign. Cliff said, "Oh, he's gonna hang that in his shop." He's like, "Oh, you're a retailer," and oh boy, he loved it.
Magic word.
He's like, well, see, and sometimes I don't like people knowing that because they think I'm signing.
They think you're there making money. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just there to turn a buck. So sometimes I try to be not with Cliff here. Cliff will just shove me under the bus. But so he was like, "Oh, I only do what I do because of what you do." He was very like, "Oh, retailers are the lifeblood of this industry." I was like, "Yeah, thanks. This is a good way to start my day. I like that." There weren't a ton of people there right at 10 a.m., so we went around, and Cliff met John Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes. The animator for the Star Wars Holiday Special, who drew the famed introduction to Boba Fett, and then some He-Man and several other things throughout the 80s. But I know this was something you were looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, this was probably the guy I was most like interested in seeing what he was going to bring and have on hand and just kind of have a conversation with. So yeah, we ran into him like kind of immediately, and he's just this older guy, and he was an animator. He was telling us how he was the only one that drew Boba Fett in the holiday special cartoon, which you can now find on like Disney Plus, just the cartoon part, not the rest of the special. And he was just kind of explaining to like the direction he had and the how they explained it to him, kind of being like heavy metal style animation, and from like Heavy Metal magazine. So he was a neat guy, and I was kind of going through. He had a little portfolio there, and with some original sketches. He had some prints from his original art from that special, that cartoon, and kind of going through that, but I wasn't really sure. Like, I had this idea of, okay, maybe I'm not purchaser of original art guy typically. Like, I don't really have that. I'll get it. I've gotten in the last few years a few books signed here and there, but I've never been big autograph or anything like that. So I felt like this was a little different. Like, maybe, if this is something I'm interested in, this is probably the one chance I'll get at it, perhaps, because he's an older guy, and people don't live forever, and there's lots of cons out there to go to, and I don't know how many he goes to, but anyways, he had worked on Masters of the Universe and the cartoon in the 80s, and I think Brave Star maybe. So it was kind of a neat thing, an animator guy. I like animation, whatever, and the holiday special, we were kind of telling him, like our history with it, and watching it for the first time and doing the commentary a few years ago for the podcast, and just, how much we enjoyed that, and it was outrageous and this and that. So he was very appreciative. I said, hey, I really might be interested in this. We just got here. It's early in the morning. I'm not working with a big budget today. I'm going to go, kind of take a lap, think about it. I'd look through some of the stuff. He said he had some more stuff to put out. So I thought, well, that's a good chance. Maybe he'll have something different other than what he had.
Oldest line in the book. I've gone to enough cons. People are like, yeah, I need to do a lap first. I'll be back. They never come
They
back.
never come
I
back.
knew you'd come back.
So that's what we did. But it was neat to meet him there, and before he was crowded with people, and like Christopher Priest, we were there and just got to have a nice conversation with another person that we were interested and had never met. So so that's what I did. I was going to do a lap, so get some. I brought some other books to get signed, so I thought, well, I'll see how this goes and think about it.
So we met a few creators. Mark Wade. I had so many posters for these people who've worked on every book from every company. But so I was like, can I do 10 signatures if it's not too obnoxious? He's like, nah, fine. And like every comic I had other people signed already. I was like, yeah, I've got all your co-creators signatures, so I need you. And so he was like looking at it, like, oh, you met Humberto Ramos, awesome. When was that? I was like, I don't know, that was a long time ago. I don't remember. So he was a nice guy. He just charged $5. That was cool for a big name like that. Mitch Gerards, Gerards, something. He's worked with Tom King a bunch got him on Batman. He did a little sketch for my Batman poster. It looked awesome. Arthur Adams, huge name. He was sort of preoccupied. His handler was at one end of a table, and he was way on the other end and just kind of slid the books over. So like didn't even make eye contact. Just like, thank you. Soup. Next in line for soup. Go.
Yeah. His table was pretty busy all day too.
Yeah. Ron Mars, talked to him for a few minutes.
He's super nice.
Yeah.
He was signing bourbon bottles. Somebody had a little suitcase of, I don't know, it was something specific to him, or somebody was going around getting a bunch of it. I have no idea. But he was talking to the guy ahead of me and was saying he'd gone to a con in Uruguay. And he said, like, years later, some guy came up to him in Baltimore Comic Con. He's like, do you remember me? I'm from Uruguay. He's like, you said I had you suggest one con in the USA to go to, and you said Baltimore. So I was like, I hope you're enjoying it. Like, I hope I didn't lead you astray. He's like, oh, it's great. So I was like, oh, I've got a friend who goes to Baltimore every year, and so he definitely recommends it too. So he was like singing the praises of Baltimore and Heroes Con and differences between them.
Yeah, I had a conversation too when with him, and he was talking about how, I just kind of asked him how the con was going and how the weekend was, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's a really good one. I really like coming here and like going to all." He was telling me he goes to the distilleries and does tours and the sampling and all this stuff, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I talked to Jordan. I was like, "Oh, this guy really loves his booze."
So we met Jeff Loeb as well, superstar Batman writer. Because I'd had the Hush issue signed by Jim Lee. I thought, I don't know if I'll ever meet Jeff Loeb, because I assumed he only went to the big, East and West Coast shows. But hey, he comes to the Midwest. That was awesome. Charging $30 a pop.
Yeah.
Which was a little sticker shocky, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, as I was waiting for him, Ryan Stelfreeze was right next to him, and he came and sat down as I was in line for Loeb. And I brought a Black Panther sketch cover. If you remember, he was at GalaxyCon, and I asked for a remark, and he's like, "There's no room on there to do a remark." I was like, "There's barely anything on this cover." I didn't understand. Was like, I don't know why you can't draw a little Black Panther head, but okay. So I was like, "Hey, I've got a blank cover. Would you be able to do a remark on that?" He's like, "Sure." So his idea of a remark is he drew a full head sketch. So it's like he's kind of, the semantics were getting in the way, I guess. That's why he wouldn't do it on my other cover. But so he sat there in just a few minutes with this awesome marker brush thingy and just sketched out this Black Panther. He had a run on that book with Ta-Nehisi Coates not so long ago, so kind of a recognizable figure he's known for. So, got that as I was waiting for Jeff Loeb. I was kind of the first person at his at his table that day. So right after he finished, met Jeff. I told him how much I was enjoying the last Halloween that he was doing, that he's supposed to be doing with Tim Sale, the follow-up finale before Tim died. So he's had all these other artists. And I was like, oh, having each artist do an issue is really cool. And he's like, oh, and look out for Hush 2. That's coming out in a couple weeks. So he was like already selling. I was like, oh, I know. I got plenty of those on orders. He was already hawking his butt. So yeah, lots of fun comic names like that. We didn't really meet any celebrities. Tom Lennon was back again in full costume as Lieutenant Dangle from 911, and Cedric Yarborough was there with him, who plays Jones on that
also
show.
in
Both
costume.
in full costume.
Yeah.
So we walked by at one point, and they were out. There was nobody in line, so they were out in front of the table. They had the little cop flashlights, and they're shining them at everyone. Like, you want drugs? Any drugs? You have any drugs today? So they were kind of like patting people down. So again, hardest working man on the con circuit. Every time I walked past, he was hugging somebody, or somebody was picking him up, or he was doing a piggyback ride or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But we saw an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
We didn't see the people that were only there Saturday. William Shatner, Sting the wrestler, and David Boreanaz from Buffy were only there Saturday. So those were like the biggest names of just the one-day show.
Wow, 3 people I couldn't give a shit less about.
So we saw Alex Winter.
Yeah, I like him.
Bill S. Preston Esquire. Andrew McCarthy, and the whole Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, was he crying?
Everybody from Weekend at Bernie's. No, he wasn't crying. We didn't yell Brat Pack or anything at him either.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, God. Could you sign this the brattiest of the brats? That's what I'd fucking say. What a whiner.
Steven Weber and Tim Daly. There were at least a couple people from the Wings.
Wow. See, now Wings, I'm a Wings head. Like, that was one of those. I just watched all those kind of sitcoms back in the day. Like, if I was home sick from school, Wings is on, running back to back or something. I'm watching it. Lloyd. Was that his name? Lloyd? No, it's not Lloyd. It's
That's
what?
his real name, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah.
He was not there, sadly.
Oh, yeah. That's terrible.
Danny Trejo, Dermot Mulroney,
Dirty Steve.
Lou Diamond Phillips again.
Yep.
Sergeant Slaughter once more.
Those young
Kevin
guns, man.
Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo.
Are you serious? Was he telling how? Was he?
He was leading
up
prayer.
there preaching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, what a jackhole!
Saw Garrett Dillahunt.
Yes.
Favorite.
D. Did you get a picture with him? Did you get a signature tattooed on your arm?
I was very excited to see him because he was on that Raising Hope show, and my daughter still, it's like one of her top 5 all-time shows. She's probably watching it right now, and I texted her and was like, hey, looking at Garrett Dillahunt right this moment, and she thought that was pretty cool.
And Soleil Moon Frye was there, Punky herself.
He wouldn't do it, Seth. I tried.
That's ridiculous. He won't even do it now.
He wouldn't even get in line because he was afraid I would force him to do it.
You threw me under the bus. You're like, this guy does a great Punky.
Yeah.
I totally would have too.
You only get one chance at that. Like, come on, you should. Yeah, you should have. You would be obligated to freaking make him say it.
She seemed pretty cool. She was one of the few that she was not at her table. She was like meeting people in the line as they came to the front of the line and out there with them. It was but she's very short, so it was kind of hard to see her almost, even though she was not, hiding. But it was also tough because where her table was like close to the exit. And
the only exit.
The only exit. And those volunteers, man, they like...
No loitering.
They were yelling at everybody. And
no looky-loos.
Yeah. Exactly. So
yeah, this was definitely a celeb show. Like, every one of those people I mentioned had lines all day.
Full.
Where you could walk up to these comic stars within, maybe one or two people at their table. So
yeah, and they had all the anime voice actors there, and those lines were even more packed than the big celebrities were. So
I thought about maybe a celebrity or two, but I just kept going back to John Romita's table because no one could answer when the thing was supposed to be, and I didn't want to get in any long line and perhaps miss something or have to leave, wait a half hour and then find out I needed to be somewhere else. So I just I'd go to a table, then go back to Romita, go to a table. So he was late for some reason. I'm not sure why. He apologized to people as they were waiting in line later, so I don't know what was going on. But so he was finally back at his booth, and I waved his handler down and said, "Okay, is there a specific time?" He said, "Oh, that's been canceled. It was moved to Saturday." I must have made a face or something. And he's like, "Oh, we've got your stuff. Just give me 20 minutes or so." It's like, okay, no rush. So, people with a 1-day ticket for Sunday couldn't go to a meet and greet on Saturday. So apparently there weren't enough people just for Sunday to carve out an hour or whatever it was going to take to do this. So.
It was dumb.
So, yeah, I just had to get in line like every other schlub and wait my turn. And, I got the piece of original art I'd asked for and got the print and got the autographs and everything. And he was the nicest guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy behind me was saying the same thing to the guy behind him. It's like, I had no idea what time to be here. And I was like, yeah, me three. And as we were waiting, this other woman came up. It's like, I'm so confused. When am I supposed to be here? So it's like no one knew what was going on. But so Romita couldn't have been nicer, but the circumstances weren't great. The guy ahead of me, his dad or grandpa or something was friends with John Romita Sr. And he had photos. He's like, "Oh, no way." So they were like having a whole family reunion and he was signing everything the guy owned. And so, but I don't begrudge it at all. It was a nice little moment that he had. So when I finally got up there, again, he was apologizing. "Oh, I'm sorry for holding things up," blah, blah, blah. So I gave him my wet Spider-Man cover of Spider-Man in the Rain on the roof. And I said, this might be one of my favorite covers of all time. And he was like, if I had to choose, I'd probably say this was my favorite as well. Because he penciled it and his dad inked it. And he said, because Dad fixed all my mistakes that I made. And I was like, oh, that's so nice that he has that memory. It's not just a cover to him. It's, a memory with his dad too. And as he was signing every poster I had with me, he saw Ralph Macchio, the signature. He's like, "Oh, you met Ralph. Awesome." And he was telling a story that basically he's like, except for my dad, he owes Ralph his whole career in comics because he was ready to quit. He got fired off whatever his first job was in the industry. He said he got fired off of. He's like, I was walking out the door. I was going to go to Madison Avenue, get a job in advertising, go draw something else. And Ralph's like, "Just come back here. Come back to my office." And it's like, and I talked to him. It's like, this is, you gotta stick with it. And like Ralph talked him into staying at Marvel. And then from that, whatever that first job was that blew up. And so that he basically said he owes him his whole career. So again, nice to hear people have those good, positive memories. And then I had brought, I think 5 posters. I had all my posters with me, but these 5 were going to be my signatures or whatever. And he started flipping through them and signing it. It's like, so he wasn't counting. And he flipped up. I had my Batman the Animated Series poster with me because Dan Reba was supposed to be there. He directed a bunch of the episodes and was like a character designer. He worked on the Mask of the Phantasm movie. It's like, oh, that'd be cool to get him, but I never found him. I don't know if he was just there Saturday or what. So he flips up to that one. I was like, oh, that's just from the animated series. Like, oh, that's fine. And he signed it as well. So I have a John Romita Jr. signature on my Batman the Animated Series poster, which makes no sense for posterity. My ancestors will say, why in the world did he get that guy to sign?
What an idiot.
You're the only one.
That's what they'll say. They'll be like, oh. What
kind of fan would think John Romita has anything to do with the animated? It's like, go back to the archives of KPP and all that.
That's right. Yeah, at one point, Jordan was over in Ramita Jr.'s line for like the 5th time, and so I was like, "Well, I'm gonna go revisit my new friend John Celestri over here." So I did go back to his booth, and it took some decision making, but yeah, I ended up with this. I've got it here. This Boba Fett sketch. Yeah, I got the frame for it just today. So did get that original art from the original artist and the autograph on it there. So yeah, so I was pretty stoked about that. Pretty happy I did it. It's gonna look.
It said that's a little bit of an investment, but his autograph, he was just doing just an autograph, was $40.
It was $40 for his autograph.
Yeah, so you thought you might as well get an original sketch.
How much was the whole thing?
$100.
Shit.
I know.
That's a heck of a deal. That's a good deal.
I know. So yeah,
That's
as
crazy.
I was, there was a guy in front of me in line. That
How long did it take him to draw that? Or did he just have them already drawn?
He had it ready. Yeah, he had them done. But there was a guy in line in front of me, getting a He-Man new action figure, one of the new ones. I actually have that one. He had him sign, and he was all excited about it and charged him $40 for it. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna buy the art here for $100. This is a much better deal.
But each one was different. Like they all had different looks to them or different poses, and so it wasn't just like he was churning them out.
No, there was like one of each. That he had one of each style, and like that was kind of neat too. I got to have a conversation about like the different sketches he had there, and we had to talk about what I was looking for. What kind of posing, motion, things like that. So that was kind of fun. But I did pick that up, and yeah. Then after that, I was just kind of cruising.
All right, so we got lunch way out of the way. It was like it felt like the whole a different building or something. So like it was noon on a con, and there was tables open. Like it wasn't super crowded because I don't think anybody knew where this lunch area
I felt
was.
like we walked all the way to Cincinnati to get there.
So that was quite a trip, but we got lunch before 1 p.m. We got to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles panel.
Mm-hmm.
They did a Q&A panel with the cast of the animated series. So all 4 Turtles and April were there, like they were at Animate Con. But their panel for Animate was on Saturday, so I didn't get to go to it. So they're all back at this con. I'll get to go to their panel as well. Again, not in a Q&A, not the best Qs, but a lot of good A's. Like they had good stories, good anecdotes. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of little kids like, what's your favorite kind of pizza? Like that kind of stuff. It's like, all right, kid, we ain't got time for this. You're not cute.
It's a serious business.
Yeah.
You're not cute.
Oh, yeah. It was good though.
That's aggressive.
Good. Yeah, it was good. But yeah, some of the questions were awkward there for a little bit, and I hadn't prepared myself for the enthusiasm of the crowd at this panel. They were very excited, very into it, and at the end they all yelled "Turtle Power," and I was like,
"Oh my god!"
Okay,
How embarrassing.
All right. So not awkward.
So I have a Tick and Arthur figure, these just tiny little action figures that I still had in the package. And so I'd met these guys already and got a signature on the Ninja Turtles thing. But I thought, I love the Tick even more than the Turtles, I think. So it's like, I thought, well.
You love what? The Tick more than you like the Ninja Turtles?
There was a time in my life, yes, for sure.
So you probably like Alex Ross's Captain America.
I like a strong chin. Let me So but again, I didn't get any lines or anything. So I thought, right after their panel, I'm going to run right over to the celeb area and jump right in line. And so right when the panel ended, I went over there, and I was the second one in line for Rob Paulson. And the guy ahead of me was like, "Oh, yeah, they said it's going to be a while. He hasn't had lunch yet." So after the panel, they were all going to go get lunch. It's like, this might be longer than I thought. So, oh well. I wasn't stressing. I thought if I had the chance to get the signatures, fine. But again, I've already met these guys. It's cool. So I went back to the floor and got a few more last minute signatures. I didn't get it. I went back 20 minutes later, and they had capped his line. There were like 50 people. Like everyone had the same idea. Like right after the panel, go. So I was right in front of the line. But it's like it still would have been like a 40-minute wait, I'm sure. So I was like, no big deal. And then I had gotten a comic that Felicia Day had written from her Guild series. They did a Guild comic. So I'm like, if I meet her, I'll get a signature. And same thing, I walked to her line. It's like, she'll be back at 3 p.m. And the line was already like way back. So I'm like, if she comes right at 3, that's like, it's a long drive home. So like, all right. So there were a couple I had kind of hoped for that I didn't get, but nobody that really.
Yeah,
that was pretty much the end of my adventure. We hit the dollar bins, found some bargainy type stuff, and
again. There were a lot of comics there. Not a lot of toys, a lot of comics though. But there were other types of vendors like you normally see at that type of show. But we went through some of the vendors. Jordan was bought some dollar bin stuff. I picked up a Justice League #1 from '87. Really nice copy that I'm gonna have Kevin McGuire sign here at GalaxyCon in December. So got it at a decent price, and it was in really good shape. So I was super excited about that. Brought that home, it's ready to go now. So kind of looking ahead here.
And we heard the best pitch from any Artist Alley person ever. He was just flagging people down saying, "Hey, you like books?
Hey, you like books?"
And it's like, how do you say no? You're at a Comic-Con. How do you say, nope, not a book guy?
It was ridiculous.
I was like, would that work? Hey, you listen to podcasts?
That was our conversation. Hey, you like podcasts?
You should have said no, like something total opposite. Yeah. You like books? Nope. Feet. I like feet. You got original art. I got some original art, but Ramita was kind of the opposite. So when you signed up for the thing, you told him there was a list of like 8 characters he would do head sketches for, and you said which one you wanted. So his table, there were just piles of them. Here's a pile of Spider-Man faces. Here's a pile of Batmans. Like this didn't feel quite like. This was a little bit mass produced, but still, I really like it. It's so, his artist, to me at least, is so obvious. Like you see a John Romita, you know exactly who it is. So his Daredevil, especially, like I'm just looking at that piece. It's very simple. There's not a lot of detail in it, but it's like that's a John Romita. So, yeah, it's cool.
I picked up a frame for that one as well, so I'm ready to put that one on the wall.
Yeah. I don't know. That was pretty much it. We, Jordan and I think after that, kind of called it a day. We had, of course, a 4-hour drive back, which was nice. Like it was an easy drive. I felt like we didn't get, 2 hours, stuck 2 hours, in between Cincinnati and Columbus or anything. So, that was nice. We stopped at a.
The drive was nice for you.
I didn't have to drive, but we had stopped at a. We were hungry. Our quick little lunch didn't last that long, so on the way home we were looking for somewhere to stop and eat, and I was like, we're in nowhere, Kentucky, and I was like, there's a Mexican food place up here, and so we eventually found it. And it was good. It tasted good, but
and it was the ambiance. They had a huge bull out front, like a 10-foot tall bull sculpture. They had like these art on the walls inside had like
massive
eagles and
sugar crazy. Skulls and yeah. It was a vibe in there, and. At one point, Jordan, I think, said to me, either I'm really hungry or this is the best Mexican food I've ever had. And I think we determined you were just really hungry.
Yeah. It was good, though.
It was good.
Chicken with pollo, chorizo, whatever, and sausage, and all. It was awesome. Then we get back on the road, 10 minutes there, I'm like, oh, this is not sitting so well. So it was a little bit longer drive for me, maybe, than Cliff. I was not digesting super well, but there you go. You take your chances. You spin the wheel. You get Mexican in rural Kentucky.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right. Not what they're known for.
So yeah, this is my second year there. I enjoy this show. So there's a few organizational problems and communication problems that takes forever for them to announce their guests. People ask a million questions every post on social media. No one seems to answer, or the website's not great. So it has issues, but I think overall it's a good show. Once you're there, the signage points you exactly where you need to go. Like, it's a huge venue. It's
the venue's great. Yeah.
Real easy parking, big name. So overall it's worth the little bit of headache that it causes. But so depending on the guests, I would be down for going back again.
Yeah, exactly. And like, to compare it to like Galaxy Con in Columbus that we've been to several times now, like, the parking situation's way better. Parking was easy. It was easy to find. It was at, what is that? Rupp Arena or something there?
Arena, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's...
Although if you were staying the whole weekend, there was a pro bull riding thing at the arena next door. So, like, all the hotel blocks were taken by bull riders. So
Cowboys.
If you needed a hotel room, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, so... But it was good. Yeah, I would definitely consider going back. So, KPP approved.
Save Martha! Puny God.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I'm Batman.
Kneel before Zod! On the roof!
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So what's it gonna be, huh? Long sullen silence or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
Alright, so this is old news, but I don't know that we've ever had a Marvel movie go by that we have not commented on, reviewed in some form or fashion. So I feel like we have to at least mention Captain America Brave New World. Marvel Studios release in February. I know Seth is a Cap fan, but it was not in his top 10 anticipated movies for the year, but I think he gave it a pretty good review. Most other people I'm talking to are a little more lukewarm on it, so I don't know. It's for what Marvel used to be as such a event. They kind of come and go now. It's a weird phenomenon that this huge budget Marvel blockbuster is not really a blockbuster.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it. I don't know. I love Isaiah Bradley. I love that actor does such a good job, and I just liked. I don't know. That people complained so much. I heard so much. Like, I must just be wrong. Like, everybody's tastes are different for things. It's fine to like something other people don't like. I do the opposite all the time. I don't like things, but so much complaints about them using plot from the Hulk movie from 17, 18 years ago. And I was like, I thought this is like this Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, tying things together should be what it's about. Like, I like that.
That was one of the pros for me. These last couple of movies have felt like they were just on their own. Eternals didn't really tie into anything, or some of these ones didn't feel like they were part of the MCU. I was like, hey, this one is continuing story. That's one long thing. So
how many times have we commented and said, oh, look, they've retroactively fixed this with this movie. They've made this movie better in the past because of it. And I thought that it all made sense, that, why, how everything worked and tied it in well. And it's like, but it's supposed to be a Captain America movie, not a Hulk movie. I'm like, whatever. It has to have, he has to have a mission to be on, and it ties into that one. Like I just don't know. I don't know what people want. I mean, I guess it wasn't as like action packed as they may have wanted. And I did not have a problem. I'm not out here looking for big, huge, set pieces or anything. I like the smaller stakes. He's not Mr. Powerful. He doesn't even have powers. Like, he shouldn't be doing small stakes things and using his skills he had. Like, we have all this history of that character. He was a social worker or and he's like uses that in this movie. That's the skill he uses. He doesn't have to have some big Captain America skill. I don't know. I liked it well enough. I thought Harrison Ford did not phone it in. It was mostly him throughout the movie, and he brought it. And like, I personally think he's, becoming a like kind of annoying as he gets older. And a lot of the things he does, he's just the gruff, always mad old man, in every interview and stuff. And it's just kind of annoying to me. I've seen enough of it. And I just thought he did great in this movie. Like, he was a good, he did a good job. And
that was probably my biggest surprise is how much he was. I assumed, it's Harrison Ford. He's just going to be in it for a few minutes, like glorified cameos. Like, no, he was he was the focal point character.
Yeah. But I don't know what else you thought of it. I thought, all in all, it was better than some of the recent Marvel movies. I thought, oh, that was pretty good, but it wasn't fantastic. It was good.
I had rewatched Falcon and Winter Soldier just to prep my memory a little bit, and it's like I remember people kept giving that show so much grief. It's like, it's fine. It was good. It was.
I really like both of them. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, I like Anthony Mackie in that role. Yeah, especially.
I don't really care for Anthony Mackie, but so again, that was another thing I was pleasantly surprised at. I thought he did really good in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like, again, it was just all better than I was expecting. So
Danny Ramirez back as the new Falcon. Like I said, Carl Lumley as Isaiah Bradley is just
amazing. He's the best part of the whole thing.
The villains, like this whole. I remember there was a whole thing. Who is Giancarlo Esposito playing? And it's like, oh, he's part of the Serpent Society. It's like, that meant nothing. He was just a guy in a trench coat.
He could have been anybody.
Like, it is. That's just fan service for people. That's just a Cap villain group. So,
and apparently there were some cast of, it's like they had cast Diamondback and like Copperhead or some, and it's like, oh, the Serpent Society cut from the final. It's like they weren't. You can reuse those characters if you want to.
They had D-Man in there, but nobody knew that.
Yeah, it didn't.
Just like that. It was just it's a waste to use those characters, but it's also like they're never going to use those characters. So they might as well have some winks in there.
Yeah,
I'd watch the hell out of a Serpent Society. like if they really went for it.
I was a little surprised. My wife and daughter both really liked it. Like, I think
Carly Barnes was on it. We were simpatico on that. She knew what was up.
She came home and she was all fired up. Her and her boyfriend went and watched it, and like, she came home and had seen it the same day we had, and she was fired up and excited and telling me all the things she loved about it. So like, cool. Okay.
Razor right. All right, we did it.
It grossed $187 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $391 million worldwide. And the thing I saw said it needed to earn $425 million to break even, and it only made $391. So it came close.
That's close
to almost
enough.
breaking even.
That's pretty good.
I saw Anthony Mackie he wants to come back as this character, after the Secret Wars, all this stuff. It's like, we'll see. These Marvel
That's close
can't
enough.
Even break even.
Nah. No, they're going to come back a lot. I mean, with these Secret Wars stuff and Doomsday, those will be big. But
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, after the last few, I would think they would be, Disney would be fairly happy with it. I think it better than
it could have done so much worse. It wasn't like the Marvels. Now that was a terrible failure. Like that should have made more money than it did. It didn't make any money, and so this was. I thought those numbers are pretty good compared to that.
Yeah.
How much Disney stock do you own?
I didn't even hear what you said. So.
Only if you own stock does your opinion matter. All right, that should do it for today's episode of Ka-Pow. Thank you for listening once again. We'll be back soon with more. My name is Jordan. Hello.
Cliff Barnes.
Death by forever.
Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment. KPP can be found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, or email Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast at gmail.com. Join our Patreon page to help support the show at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and early access to episodes. We are grateful to anyone who chooses to contribute. Most of our content will remain free, so please click the thumbs up, like, share, and ask your friends. You down with KPP?